What's up, everybody? This is GR Fan here, and welcome to ETA 5 Minutes. Today we're going to be talking about the concept of Metrolake. This is potentially the most important merger in Indiana's history. I read a 2003 article written in the Chicago Tribune titled, East Chicago Dreams of a Five-Town Merger. Actually, it wasn't East Chicago itself. It was ex-mayor Robert Pastrick. Soon after this article, he would be embroiled with scandalous accusations and federal investigations. Just the thought of a five-town merger happening, no matter how much sense it would make, would cause most people to snort loudly with a little mucus exiting their nostril. Pastrick's dream merger consisted of 5 towns in the northwest Indiana area: Hammond, East Chicago, Whiting, Munster, and Highland. I could see people jubilant, jealous, afraid, and skeptical all at the same time. Indeed, it would be weird. Of course, I'm just as delusional as Pastrick. There is no way this would be possible right now. We are too racially polarized, too mistrustful of government, too afraid and cowardly to take this much needed step forward. Let's discuss Metrolake in a little bit more detail. The Metrolake concept was born out of the same racism and economic rape that covered Gary like a poisoned soap blanket. Originally, Metrolake was just proposed to be a power grab by the white establishment forces, whom voluntarily left Gary in droves during the turbulent times of the civil rights and post-civil rights era. There is a book called Racial Politics and Urban Planning. Here is a quick passage. However, Gary's less sophisticated and relatively less educated white elites, instead of undertaking subtle actions to head off black government control, waited until Hatcher's 1967 Democratic primary win and then took steps to regain power. This included attempts to rig the 1967 general mayoral election, followed by an attempt at de-annexation of all the white Glen Park section of Gary, and then the promotion of a surrogate black candidate to overturn Hatcher. When all 3 plots failed, the next move was the successful incorporation of Maryville as the site of an alternative power base. When even this failed to achieve desired results, an attempt at Metropolitan Consolidation known as Metrolake took place. If you were to read some of the stories and situations inside of this book regarding white flight and regarding how some whites felt about having black power inside of Gary, Indiana, you will truly understand why this book is a must-read. So instead of cooperating with blacks, they instead chose to create a black majority in Gary by uprooting and leaving themselves, draining the city of Gary of its white population in a phenomenon known as white flight. This area of history has been explained by a great deal of others, but Northwest Indiana is one of the only regions that I know where whites sort of regretted leaving. Paraphrasing former Gary Mayor George Chacharis, he admitted that they never thought the election of Richard Gordon Hatcher would ever be possible. They thought that if they just slowly appeased blacks, serving piecemeal changes to quality of life over time, racial tensions would simmer down enough for blacks to trust white leadership more. But the thought of whites having no power at all just was not considered. In 1967, they had plans on running someone against A. Martin Katz, Richard Gordon Hatcher's opponent in the mayoral election of that year, but no one saw that Hatcher would be crowned. They tried a succession of Glen Park after Hatcher won to combine Glen Park's 30,000 population that was mostly white with the 50,000 residents of towns south of Glen Park to create a new city, but Indiana law made that impossible to do. Next, they tried to remove Hatcher in the next election cycle by running a moderate black candidate sympathetic to the white establishment, Dr. Alexander Williams, in 1971. He represented the black middle class, doctors, lawyers, teachers, administrators, and community leaders affiliated with college frats and sororities, churches, and private clubs. He was endorsed by the white-owned Post-Tribune and other white businesses, religious leaders, and civic actors. He was even supported by the Lake County Democratic Party, but Dr. Williams lost to Hatcher in the primary, only getting 40% of the vote. Hatcher ran against a white Republican in the general election and won by 50,000 votes. When that plan failed, white political figures moved to incorporate Maryville. And this is where we're going to stop this video for now. Stay tuned for part 2. This is GRL Fan. I'm out.